A very good morning, guys, and welcome to another daily market outlook, the last one of this week. Yesterday we saw some very interesting price action going on the chart, so let's dive in, see what has happened and see if we can capitalize on any last moves of this week. Starting off with the dollar index. So the dollar index essentially played out to absolute perfection. As we can see yesterday, we had this beautiful kind of channel slash wedge formation, dived in towards that area of supply, which I pointed out all week long. And after that, we saw a beautiful reaction back down in towards the downside. After that, tapped in towards this area of 4-hour demand and again reversed back up higher. So possibly we are going to be heading up higher now on the dollar index. Just keep in mind that we haven't yet touched in towards that daily area of demand. However, we have tapped in towards this area of 4-hour demand. Keep in mind that the more times we touch in towards an area of supply, the weaker it will get. So we're now getting in towards this supply zone for the second time. Hence the reason why that we're also moving deeper in towards this area of supply. So yeah, for now, pretty much the dollar index is just really messy, looking pretty choppy overall. But as we know, supply is getting weaker and weaker. So at a certain point in time, I do expect that area of supply to get broken unless we start breaking the lows on the daily time frame. As you know, the daily is bullish on the dollar, and therefore, as long as that low is sustained, we are still bullish and are still looking for those longs. So yep, that is the dollar index. Let's head over to Aussie dollar and Aussie dollar. So Aussie dollar, perfect reaction to this area of daily supply, which we've been pointing out all week long. Then looking at the 4 hours. So yeah, pretty much as I explained yesterday, we were waiting for that push down lower. Sadly, we saw that massive spike up in towards the upside. Personally, haven't been trading Aussie dollar. So if we were to just adjust this zone to the last buy before the sell, we can clearly see that we tapped in towards that buy to sell zone, and that is where the reaction came from. Looking at how we could have capitalized on this move, in my opinion, we couldn't really have. Just keep in mind, 4 hours currently bullish from this low all the way up towards this high. But yeah, the daily and the weekly are still bearish. So at a certain point in time, I still do believe that we will see Aussie dollar start to crash down lower. Personally, what I'll probably be doing is waiting for this low to get broken, then a pullback so that internal structure is bearish, and then look for further shorts in towards the downside. So yeah, that is that for Aussie dollar. Let's over to Euro dollar and Euro dollar. So Euro dollar, pretty interesting, as we can see, reacted beautifully to the liquidation of the highs. Big fan of what went on yesterday. So yeah, as I said, this kind of descending choppy price action leads at times to big impulses up, and as we can see, we got that impulse. However, it wasn't sustained move. Also, no close above this high, so the 4 hour is still bearish, and I therefore am still looking for further downside on Euro dollar, at least in towards this sell before the buy. That is going to be in line with the daily and the weekly structure still. So as we can see, currently daily supply or daily extreme supply is still holding. And as long as that is the case, we are still going to be looking for those shorts back down lower. So that is Euro dollar. Let's head over to pound dollar and pound dollar. So pound dollar, beautiful price action pretty much as well. We've seen a lot of liquidation. As we can see, this high got taken out, but no close above. So still bearish on pound dollar, still looking for further downside and still expecting further downside after tapping one more time in towards this area of 4 hour supply and grabbing liquidity above this high where all the stop losses are situated. So now what you want to be doing is waiting for the lower time frame to kind of give a nice trend, which will be in line with the daily and the 4 hour. So if we quickly look at the 15. Yeah, so the 15 is not the most beautiful, but let's say this is your low. This low has now got broken over here by a close below, and then what you could wait for is, for instance, a pullback in towards this area of supply and then look for further shorts. Of course, it doesn't need to happen because the bearish momentum is pretty heavy now at the moment, but let's say we do pull back up that high, you can look for those shorts. Essentially just targeting a new 4 hour lower low beneath the low over here. So yep, that is pound dollar. Let's head to our last pair, which is Kiwi dollar and Kiwi dollar. So Kiwi dollar, a very messy one as well. As we can see, pretty much as I explained, took out the high and started dumping. So I was personally in some very good profit at that moment. However, as we can then see, CPI spike took me out for break even and was lucky enough to take some profits on the trade, but still a pity that the trade decided to go in my direction afterwards. But yeah, it is what it is. Still very, very tough price action this week and a very ugly price action. Not a lot of great opportunities or price movements for these larger swings in the market. Yeah, a lot of stop losses being taken out were under mine. So yeah, just watching Kiwi dollar now for potential lower prices, which are in line with the overall daily trend. So we dived in towards the 50% mark, the EQ of the overall daily swing range. So quickly looking at the daily as well, you can clearly see that the daily is still bearish, and we are essentially, still looking for a new daily lower low. So for the time being, I am still bearish on Kiwi dollar. Of course, the 4-hour is not looking that bearish at the moment due to the fact that we broke this high and closed above it, but that's all internal structure. Just keep in mind that the daily swing range is also your 4-hour swing range over here. So yeah, we've seen the 50% mark of the overall swing range now being hit, and we can essentially now expect a new low to be formed. But personally, what I'll be doing is just waiting for, let's say, this low to get broken, internal structure alignment, then wait for a pullback and then look for those further shorts. So yeah, that is that from Kiwi dollar. Let's head over to our last pair, which is gold. And gold, so gold has been reacting beautifully to daily supply, as I pretty much explained to you all. As we can pretty much see, yeah, we've just been reacting to 4-hour stacked supply as well, inside that daily with this previous buy before the big sell-off being hit to absolute perfection. You can really see that that's what formed resistance. So yeah, pretty much just waiting for lower prices now if the 15-minute structure is in alignment. And yes, the 15-minute structure is essentially in alignment. So we can start looking for further potential downside. This was your low over here. This was the high. Then we get a close above. This becomes your low. I'm just disregarding this liquidity wick. So now looking at supply and demand, you could, for instance, say, well, we have some supply over here, over here, over here, from where we could look for potential shorts if we do see that pullback. Just keep in mind, overall daily swing range is bullish. So if you want to keep on a runner, just manage your risk accordingly. So yeah, guys, that's that for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to join the free Discord server. Link is in the description down below. Thanks, guys.